So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 8th Annual Made in Redmond Tour. I'm Samantha O'Connor, co-anchor and co-host of Central Oregon Daily News. Happy to be here, of course, along my co-anchor, Alan Schaffler. Very excited to be here. And we are here to present the Creators Wanted Made in Redmond Watch Party.
Yeah, and first of all, just thank you so much for inviting us and allowing us to participate in this event, the 8th annual. Just looks like a tremendous day, and we really appreciate being a part of it. I'm Alan Schaffler. Sam and I proud to be here at the fairgrounds, properly socially distanced, of course. And for those of you who are joining us online, I'm not sure how many of those are, but hopefully many. Thank you for taking the time to join us out here at the fairgrounds and also to do the virtual tours that we're going to have coming up. We're backed up by Matt Hand of Hand and Hand Productions, who's running the show, both live and virtual. Come on, Matt, wave your hand. There you go. He's back there under the tent, the Matt tent. And also thanks to Courtney Latham of Flip Flop Sounds for the big screen that we're going to be watching some videos on today.
So, as many of you might already know, today is National Manufacturing Day. And all across the country, people are gathered to celebrate how manufacturing has impacted our economy and our world.
And today you're going to learn more about some of the local effects of that, and also why Redmond has become something of a hub in manufacturing, and how the Redmond Economic Development Incorporated, or of course as we all know them, REDI, has played a leadership role in attracting some of the really innovative companies in the world.
So over the past several weeks, we visited 3 of these manufacturers who represent some of the best in Central Oregon. And they welcomed us to a behind-the-scenes tour. We were also able to showcase these companies in a segment that I produce each week, airing on Fridays on Central Oregon Daily News. You might have heard of it. It's Origin Stories, so it's been a lot of fun.
Today, you're going to join us as we visit Poltex, Rissy Racing, and Composite Approach. Also, after every virtual tour, you'll get a chance to meet the founders, the movers and shakers in these companies, and you'll be able to ask your own questions about what they do and how they do it and why they're here in Redmond, either live here at the fairgrounds or also by using your text bar online.
And throughout the show today, you will also hear from sponsors who stepped up to support this tour, along with manufacturing in Redmond and REDI. So first, we're going to hear from Columbia Bank.
Hi, I'm Corey Allen, Commercial Team Leader at Columbia Bank. Columbia Bank is a premier Northwest community bank specializing in customized financial solutions for our clients. Columbia Bank is a longtime supporter of REDI, and although it may look a little bit different this year, like everything in 2020, we are once again proud to partner with John Stark and the REDI team to present to you the Made in Redmond Tour, showcasing just some of the amazing companies we have here in Redmond. Please enjoy the event. If you see myself or another Columbia Bank team member, introduce yourself, as we'd love the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.
But thanks for Corey for doing that.
There's the
Also,
top of
just want to recognize that without the partnership of the city of Redmond itself, REDI really couldn't do the good work that they do, and that's what complements and helps out their effort to attract these amazing companies, amazing manufacturing companies.
So next, we're going to hear from Redmond's Mayor, George Endicott. Mayor Endicott is a 5th-generation Central Oregonian whose goal is to keep the quality of life we love while welcoming those who come here to experience what we've built. He believes in managing growth, attracting high-quality jobs, and applying methods to ensure we have an attractive, safe, and rationally thought-out community. So, Mayor, please share your Mayor's Minute.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I took off my mask. I find that the masks tend to, fuzzy up your language a little bit, and so I at least take it off during the presentations. I see a couple of electeds here today. I see Phil Henderson, who's one of our county commissioners, Chrisanna Clark Endicott, who is one of our city councilors. Are there any others that I missed?
Thank you, elected officials.
Oh, yeah, thank you. And thanks to all of you who are participating here today. As you heard, this is our 8th annual Made in Redmond tour, and John and I were talking about it just a few minutes ago, and I've been to every one, and I'm telling you, the quality of the businesses here in Redmond and that whole traded sector that we depend on to provide our living wage jobs is just phenomenal. And I did my State of the City speech earlier this week, and one of the things in there was that we have had since 2010, 88% increase in manufacturing growth in Redmond and 97% growth in wages. I mean, think about that for a minute. You know, you hear about the stagnant economy, but it is not in Redmond, Oregon. And, you know, John hates it when I do a shout out for him, but a lot of it's due in no small measure to the hard work that he does for us, and even a couple of his predecessors. So I'm going to get the hook if I don't get off the stage here. So I'm going to just turn it back over to our hosts. And one more shout out before I do. Dr. Klein is here today, who's our new superintendent of schools. So thank you for coming. Thank you all very much.
And thank you, Mayor Endicott. We appreciate your time and we appreciate your service, of course. Now we want to hear from another sponsor, Republic Services.
Hi, my name is Kristen Steiner, and I'm the General Manager for Republic Services, formerly High Country Disposal. In addition to garbage collection, we offer curbside yard debris and food waste collection here in the city. We turn it into nutrient-rich compost. This compost is available to purchase here at our Redmond office, or we can deliver it to you. We provide document destruction service, and we can shred your documents right at your home or your office. And we also rent large containers for your cleanup or junk removal projects. Republic Services is proud to be a part of the Central Oregon community, and we are proud to support great local programs like this Made in Redmond tour.
Thanks to Republic Services for their sponsorship. Now, we talked about Ready today and the work they've done. And of course, with all that's going on in our world, you'd think that like some economic development groups, they're sitting back and just waiting for this pandemic to be over.
Yeah, not exactly the case here in Redmond, where creators are clearly thriving. Next, we'd like to welcome John Stark Sr., Director of Ready, employed by Economic Development for Central Oregon, EDCO. John is responsible for recruiting, retention, and expansion of traded sector businesses to help with issues such as business finance, site selection, zoning, facilities development. What's happening back there?
What's going on?
Manufacturing processes, product marketing, workforce training, attracting and retaining labor force, as well as incentives for expansion and relocation in the city of Redmond, John works hard on numerous strategic initiatives to sustain and improve the business climate here in Redmond, including, but not limited to, education and workforce development, statewide legislative concepts and legislation, infrastructure development, and business resource development. He's a past president of the Oregon Economic Development Association and was honored with the Economic Development Leader of the Year Award for Oregon back in 2015. Go ahead, try to diagram that sentence. Please join me this morning in welcoming John Stark to tell us just what's going on here in Redmond. John?
Thank you, Alan. I'm tired already, just hearing that. Welcome, everybody. So glad everyone made it out for our 8th annual Made in Redmond tour today. It's so great to be out and in person, having an opportunity to be before you and have some networking opportunity. I just want to remind everybody that to wear their masks today, otherwise we don't get to do this again. You never know if the health department stops by or if the sheriff stops by. We want to continue these events, and as you know, most of them have been canceled. And so we've got another big one coming up with the Ben Venture Conference in a couple of weeks. And we want to make sure that we can continue to have these and push the envelope, but we got to do it safely. So if you're not eating or drinking, please do keep your mask up, and that'll allow us to continue this and others as well. So again, so happy to be here. I think it's been 6 months since I've worn a pair of slacks, and I think my biggest wardrobe challenge has been trying to figure out if I can get just one more day out of that pair of sweats before washing them. Coming together today to celebrate manufacturing in our community couldn't be more relevant than now. Why? Because manufacturing is going to play a leading role in aiding us in our economic recovery as a result of the closures in response to the pandemic. It's great to be here on National Manufacturing Day today. I'd like to share 3 numbers with you, 3 numbers that you can remember after I share a few things regarding manufacturing, what's happening with Ready. 3 numbers are 20, the number 600,000, and the number 55. First, the number 20. 20 represents 20% which is the increase in industrial flex space here in Redmond. 20% equals an additional 326,000 square feet that is either planned, under construction, or have been delivered to market since 2018. We've been advocating for the last 4 years with developers to continue to put buildings up to meet the increasing demand. We had a developer tour in 2016 to showcase the fact that we were shy on buildings, but demand was here. Shortly after that, we started construction, and we haven't stopped. Again, 326,000 square feet of industrial flex space is underway or delivered to the market. It worked. Obviously, we're putting buildings up, and despite the pandemic in March, it was a little quiet. So was April. But then May hit. June, July, and absorption of that space that we built has continued to leave Redmond at about a 2% vacancy rate. So of the 1.6 million square feet or so that we have in industrial flex space available, there's only 2% available. So as we build it, they keep coming. And so we continue to advocate with developers to put buildings up, and we've got more coming. And so we're really excited about that. And the reason is because, and I say this casually because I have a lot of EDCO friends in the room here from other communities, he who has the most buildings in an economic development expansion wins. Wins the war on jobs, wins the war on capital investment, and wins the war on economic prosperity for our community that we call Redmond. The other number, 600,000. That number represents the combined speculative development with that of owner-occupied. So over the last 2 years, underway or planned or delivered to market, 600,000 square feet we're tracking through Reddy's and EDCO's research. We have a little over 2 million square feet of industrial space in Redmond. It took us 110 years as a city to build it. And in just a few years, we're adding 600,000 square feet more. That's a big deal. That's property taxes, and that's a place to put businesses. City of Redmond, year over year, through August, has seen an increase in permits issued of 24% during a pandemic. So construction has not slowed down at all. Those jobs are still underway, along with our manufacturing sector, and that's helping us keep what little economy we have after the closures from the pandemic. The spirit of growth that I've described is also embodied by the companies we're showcasing on the tour today: Poltex, Rissy Racing, and Composite Approach. Over the last 2 years, each of these companies have doubled the space they occupy here in Redmond, and two of those weren't even companies just 10 years ago. One was operating in another state called California. The final number is 55. 55 represents the combined employment of these three companies. Each of these companies has helped Redmond grow that 88% in manufacturing jobs that the mayor referenced a few minutes ago. That is 4 times the state average and 8 times the national average. Despite the fact the U.S. has been adding jobs back to manufacturing over the last few years from previous decades where we're doing nothing but losing those manufacturing jobs through automation and shipping jobs overseas, we've grown manufacturing here at 88%. Suffice to say that Redmond is a leader in the region, helping Deschutes County increase its manufacturing base throughout the region here. We at Reddy feel fortunate to have had the opportunity to directly support these companies and their growth for the past several years. I want to thank our sponsors. We decided to push forward with this event despite the pandemic and the important governing rules to gatherings. We asked our partners and stakeholders for help to pull this event off, and they came running. Sometimes a little innovation and creativity really pays off. Thank you to our 10 sponsoring companies and 3 touring companies. We couldn't have done this without you. I hope each of you feels some ownership related to the growth that we've seen here in Redmond through your support of Reddy. And finally, thank you to our staff at EDCO, the Reddy Marketing Committee led by Michelle O'Hara, and Mary Knight, who really put down some hard work to get us to this point today. So on to our show.
All righty, thank you very much, John. So great to hear those great numbers and really great news. So thanks to John Stark for that. That is fantastic. Now we want to hear from two more of our sponsors, Bend Broadband and BBSI.
Hello, my name is Nicole Lewis, and I am an Associate Manager of Field Marketing for Bend Broadband. We are honored to be a sponsor of the 8th Annual Made in Redmond Tour 2020, celebrating Manufacturing Day. Manufacturing is such an important and oftentimes unrecognized component in our lives. Manufacturing ensures that the items we need for our professional and personal lives are available to us. Items such as computers and electronics, food and beverage, medical devices, and many more, in addition to providing jobs, innovation, and economic activity and growth. Thank you for allowing Bend Broadband the opportunity to support the Made in Redmond Tour this year.
BBSI partners with small businesses to provide HR and safety consultation, payroll, recruitment, strategic planning, and work comp coverage. We've been in Bend for 20 plus years and work with more than 60 clients throughout Central Oregon. If you have a need of support in those areas, please reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. There's never been a more important time to attract and support companies that provide good pay, benefits, and opportunities for job advancement. That's Ready and Edco's mission, is to create a diversified local economy and a strong base of middle-class jobs. Central Oregon is an expensive place to live and only getting more difficult. So good jobs are critical to provide the opportunity for our younger population to succeed. So join me in supporting Ready and Edco to keep Central Oregon a prosperous place for all of us to live.
Now to the tour itself, and I have to say I'm still a relative newbie in these parts and totally new to this event, and I didn't realize that the tour normally is actually get on a bus, a big old bus, and go touring, cruise the neighborhood, see these places, get a chance to visit and see the manufacturing areas and whatnot and talk to the people, and that sounds really cool. I look forward to signing up and actually getting on one of those buses next year because it sounds like a great event. First, we'd like to take you to Poltex, where fabricating custom organizational equipment for laboratories and for hospitals is their sweet spot. Now, Poltex has stepped up to help address the pandemic. They're doing what they can to provide us all with tools that make life safer for everybody here. So, Poltex.
Hello, my name is Paul Filipowicz, and I'm the owner of Poltex Incorporated here in Redmond, Oregon. We're a manufacturer of organizers for hospitals and laboratories or the healthcare environment. Basically anything and everything to organize and enhance your setting in the laboratory or hospital. I got started, I was a molecular biologist by training, worked in a hospital laboratory at Kaiser Permanente Hospital as a lab bench tech, molecular technologist to be exact. And while I was working on the bench, I started to devise items to organize my own workspace because I had difficulty with all my items sprawled across the lab bench. And so I thought, you know, in order to get started working, I had to have everything kind of neat and tidy and in order. And so I started making my own organizers. My bench mates kind of looked at my stuff and said, hey, I want one of those. And so I started a business and started selling to Kaiser Permanente Hospital, and it was pretty popular. So I decided I think I might have a thing here, and so I went and got a business license and then started building products out of my garage. And being that it was a hospital laboratory, some of the hospital staff would walk through the laboratory from time to time and say, ooh, that's cool, who built that? And I'd say, hey, this guy right here. And so they say, oh, can you do this and this? And it's kind of a theme with Poltex is that when people see that what can be built, they say their creative juices start flowing and they start suggesting other things to be built to organize and enhance again. And from there, it's just grown sort of organically year by year. And it's like the traditional method of you start small, start with primitive methods, and then you get more advanced as time goes on. So we started to gain popularity through word of mouth, and I did that for about 11 years just on the side. And in 2012, I decided it was time that we'd grown popular enough. It was time to ditch my job and go full-time into the business, and we moved to Tumalo initially and started out of a barn. My in-laws graciously took us in and gave us half a house and a barn to get started, and took about 1.5 to 2 years, and we moved into this spot here. This is Unit H. The room that we're in is the original Pultex, just this space right here. So my desk used to be right there. We had our first CNC router, which is right by my desk, and all the fabrication and shipping moved into that area of the building there. So now we have 5 of these units. What we have in this room now is this is the machining room. So these are 2.5 axis CNC routers by Multicam. So what these machines do is that it's an inverted router. So the router spins and it takes on different bits. So if you see, there's different cutting tools here, and we program it to change tools when needed and do the different cuts to be able to cut the profiles and the contours needed for the parts that we're cutting. So here we're cutting some decorative chart holders for a hospital in New York. They ordered 300 of them to organize and enhance their whole setting. All right, so this is about the 3rd step in the process. I'm going to take you through the beginning, from the beginning to how we get to the routers and what happens after the routers. So the first step in the process is the design process, which is done with CAD software. So if you come over here, we'll take one of our products that we're designing here. So the process goes like this. We take a 2D design. So you'll see here we have this part is designed in 2D. This will be the face plate. Then we design all the parts in 2D and we assemble into 3D. Now this mimics the process that we're going to do on the benchtop in terms of assembly. So we'll be able to see how all of the parts interact and see how the moving parts interact with themselves and make sure there are no conflicts in design. From there, we will take the part and we will export it into our CAM software. The CAM software will then assign the proper tool paths to be able to cut the parts that we're cutting. So this is what we just saw on the routers there, and we can assign different tool paths with different tools, and we can assign our feeds and speeds and how fast or slow we want the tool to go, what RPM to spin, and those are all things that can be calculated, or you just kind of learn along the way. So from there, we send it to the machines, load up the sheets of plastic, and we cut. From the cut parts, we'll bring those in, and so the cut parts for the project we just saw on the machines will look something like this, and we send it into prep. So these are the cut parts that we just saw off of the machine, and so what Mom's doing here is just taking off the extra paper so when the fabricators get them, they're a little bit cleaner, and then we'll have other prep people come in and you peel the appropriate parts, and they are prepped now. So this is part prepped and ready for fabrication, which I'll show you on this side of things. The prep parts will come into this room, into the fabrication area, and the prep parts look something like this. So they're peeled, the edges are chamfered or deburred, and so there'll be no sharp edges exposed to the customer. And then from here, our expert fabricators, here's Jesse fabricating our glove box holders. So this is a 3 glove box holder that's going to fit up on the wall of your healthcare or laboratory setting, like so, and stack 1, 2, 3 boxes of gloves. It is clear, so you can see what size gloves you're using. So there's some of the finished products that we have. So this is on the laboratory side of things. So we take, if you can imagine the footprint that this would take spread out across a lab bench, if you had these items, if we stack them vertically and compact them, now we take up a much smaller footprint. So this is just a bin on top that holds various supplies, wipes. This is a laboratory film with a slide cutter, so you can put film and seal it's kind of a saran wrap for a laboratory, and then your gloves, of course, all the items that you'd need on your bench top. And so we make different organizers usually based off of people's custom requests. So I used to work in the laboratory at Kaiser. I'm no longer in that industry, so to maintain a pulse on the market, we offer affordable custom fabrication to encourage our customers to use it so that we can continue to develop our product line. And so this was actually a result of a custom job, and we're going to have it photographed, placed on our website, and then distributed across our sales channels through distribution, Amazon.com, and our website. So this is an example of our laboratory organizers. This is one of our sanitizing stations, which have been very popular lately due to COVID. So we make them in a single, double, triple, or quadruple position. They come wall mounted, so we have keyhole slots here, or stand mounted. So you could put your hand sanitizer and your wipes and display them. There's a padlock here, so if you needed to refill, you can refill the items. Yep. Place the padlock back on, and there we go. And away you go. And so these have been purchased. They used to be primarily purchased by healthcare environments, but now we're getting them from beauty supply stores and hair salons and party supply and just anyone in any environment that has public entering it. So this has been a big COVID seller. Here's some more. So to continue with the process, so we have it goes from fabrication and then into finishing. So finishing means that we're going to add any of the accessories that we need to add to it. So we have, for example, you can do magnet mount or screw and anchor mount. And so the finisher will look at the packing slip and assign the proper hardware to the product and then send it on to shipping. So all of these products are here waiting to go out to have their hardware and to be finished, to then go on to shipping. So Reddy's has been very helpful for us. When we first moved into Unit H there, we had no idea who they were, and John Stark heard about us because he has his pulse on the business community in Redmond, and he came in and offered his services. He said, hey, whatever you need, we got your back, and he's able to make establish relationships, make connections with similar businesses or anyone that could use our services or vice versa. He provided any kind of resources we need in terms of accounting or IT work or anything like that, job hiring. They're just kind of the one-stop shop for anything that a small business needs. So they've been really helpful, really available. They answer their phones. They're, the reason I'm talking to you all today, which is going to, has provided a boost for our business in the past. Yeah, so I do owe a lot to Reddy for, getting us started here in Redmond and providing some resources. So yeah, that's who we are. We're Pultex. Thank you so much, Reddy, for all your help. And thanks for taking the tour today.
Cool. So before we bring Paul up, I just wanted to explain the question and answer segment. So you guys obviously can answer or ask questions. Say it loudly or kind of all spread out. Paul will repeat the question before answering. And also, if you're watching online right now, feel free to ask questions. You just type it into the chat box and we will somehow ask that to Paul. So as he makes his way up, I get to say his last name one more time, something I've been practicing for the last week. I'd like to introduce Paul Filipowicz, president of Pultex. And while he walks up here, let me just tell you a little bit about his past. He grew up in California, but we'll forgive him. He moved to Oregon in 2012. He graduated from UCSD with a BS in microbiology, and his father owned a machine shop. So this type of business really is in his family's blood. However, Paul was not mechanically inclined. So he figured things out by just teaching himself CAD to design and CAM to run the machines. I've seen him do it firsthand. He's pretty incredible. So without further ado, here is Paul Filipowicz.
Here, I think stay here.
Right here in the middle, Paul. Oh, that's perfect. Sorry about that. Hey, I want to start with the first question, too. How often do you have people coming to you and asking you if you can manufacture something that's completely new to you? How often do you have people just coming up with ideas that you haven't had, but that offer you new chances to make product and develop stuff? Is that really common?
So the question was, I'm just kidding. He's on mic. First, I want to welcome everyone to my private sauna experience. My glasses are fogged, so I feel like we're all in a sauna together, so welcome. Thank you for coming. So how often? Daily, probably. So that's our business. We really want to encourage the custom fabrication, so we are very well out there, and I'm constantly, going after that business. So probably on a daily basis. Yeah. Oh. One in the back there. What's up? Did everyone hear that? Okay, so basically, how has business changed due to COVID, and what types of challenges are we facing, and what types of boosts in business are we getting? Is that about the gist? So there's just been one small subset of our products, mainly the sanitizing stations and respiratory hygiene stations that we already had and we've offered for, 10 years. Those just went through the roof in March and April on Amazon, and we went nuts. So it forced kind of our expansion from the 2 units into the 5 units and purchasing new machinery and hiring a lot of people. But since then, the frenzy has kind of died down. That COVID-related business is steady, but everything else has kind of increased and has remained steady. So it's kind of interesting. We also sell to research labs, so there's been some boost in like shielding and everything like that for like COVID testing, vaccine research, things like that. So yeah, just does that answer the question? Sorry. Okay, good. Okay, hugely. So the question was, how has our supply chain for raw materials been impacted due to COVID, right? So yeah, recently there was a worldwide scarcity of clear materials. So we happen to be lucky and unlucky in that our primary materials were clear acrylic, polycarbonate, and PETG, and there became an immediate scarcity worldwide, and manufacturers were quoting, instead of 6 to 8 week lead times, 24-month lead times on that. So we had a good stock of materials and several suppliers that were competing for our business, thankfully. So we had them to pull from, and so we were able to remain stocked. We had to switch up some of our materials, like for example, from PETG to polycarbonate. Excuse me. And then with different maskings, and kind of take what we could get for a bit, but then production was ramped up worldwide. Again, the frenzy died down, so a lot of those orders were canceled. So it's probably a good 6 months of kind of just being on edge and having to really work to get the material, but we had no problem. We're able to get the material to ramp up our production. The young man in the yellow, Mayor George. So in March we had, including my wife and I, this is Danielle, my wife. Hi, wife. We had 5, and then we went up to 17, and then we're probably at 12 now. And that 12 is going to remain there, and I think we have to hire one more coming up here pretty quick, just because the business has just remained steady. It took on a high spike and then leveled off like much higher than we were pre-COVID. Yay. Sorry, could you repeat it? Like, what is our use relative to other similar manufacturers, or? Oh yeah, I think our usage has gone up, tremendously, but there's not many that do exactly what we do. We have a pretty niche market. And I think that probably during COVID, we were probably not using as much as other people because we're making, getting 10 products out of a sheet versus selling a whole sheet and cutting it in half and using that as like a whole shield. So more volume was going out probably from other people, other manufacturers due to just, higher volume of product used for a simpler product to just put up a shield at like 7-Eleven or whatever it is. So. So the question was, what is our target for the wage scale and how we treated the employees that we brought on in terms of pay? So we actually did bring people on at higher rates than we had hired the same position in the past and gave raises to our employees just because we were sharing the love. So that's it.
One more thing.
Wow, what could it be?
We have a thing coming.
We have a trend coming. So I'm John again, Redmond Economic Development, and part of the tours that we've done for the last 7 years now, our 8th, we asked the city of Redmond to join us in celebrating manufacturing. And the city council does that on a regular basis. Some of them are here today, of course. And with that, they proclaim today National Manufacturing Day. And they talk about the growth of manufacturing and the importance to our economy here locally through a proclamation that was done in late September before City Council, which we recognize the companies on the tour. And with that, we want to give a copy of that proclamation signed by Mayor George Endicott and to our companies today. So thank you very much.
Welcome, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Want that? All right.
Thank you.
So we good?
Yep.
We're good. You did great. Okay, so thanks so much to Paul. And next we're going to hear from another sponsor, and that's Deschutes County Title.
Hello, I'm Steve McDonald, Vice President and County Manager of Deschutes County Title Company. We couldn't be more excited to partner with Ready to bring you the 8th annual Made in Redmond Tour. As a locally owned business, we at Deschutes County Title are committed to helping our local economy. We keep jobs local and aim to partner with our fellow locally owned businesses. Closing your real estate transaction with our local professionals allows us to have a personal touch and firsthand knowledge of your transaction. I'd like to thank John and the crew at Ready for all they do to make our community a better place. We're lucky to have you. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the tour.
All righty, thanks to Steve and DCT. That's great to see. And next we're going to tour Rissy Racing. And by the way, if anybody wants to check out an example of the finished product, you'll find it over in this corner. I don't know if they'll let you take a test ride today, but you can definitely see what they're all about. Rissy Racing, providing technology designs and manufacturing high-performance mountain bike suspension components. Here's the tour.
Hello, my name is Kevin Rissy, and I'm with Rissy Racing Technology here in Redmond, Oregon, and we manufacture bicycle components, suspension shocks and forks. And we also do electric bikes and other bicycle and aircraft parts. So on a bike like this, we actually make the frame, the fork, and the rear shock. All these parts are machined out of billet aluminum, stainless steel, and it's a lot of chips, but it's very lightweight in the end. So we use CNC machinery to manufacture the parts. So we start with big chunks of aluminum and machine away until they're nice and lightweight for the bike. And here's some other examples of like some of the parts that are machined. So this part here would have started as a big solid bar of aluminum, and these are all little parts that get machined. And then these are some of the forks that we do that for different fat tire bikes, 26 inch, 27.5. And then we also sell seals and service. So we will rebuild someone's Fox, RockShox, RST fork, whatever needs a servicing and oil and seals. So here's another bike that's got our shock on it and a fork. And then over here, this is a bike that we made. This is an electric assist bike. And on this one here, everything's machined here in Redmond. Turn this on. And so it's pedal assist, so you pedal and then it kicks in. If you back pedal, it regen brakes. So it makes you feel like Superman going up the hill. And once again, everything's machined here, welded, fabricated. So this has a fork that we make specifically for electric bikes. So it's very heavy duty for the extra weight and power that's in the e-bikes. All right, so now we'll take you out into the assembly service area in the shop. So here we've got a shock that's been taken apart and he's working on rebuilding and servicing it. And then we also have a fork, that's a RockShox fork, that he's replacing some of the parts to get it like new again. Even though, so over here, here's some of the different shop bikes and demo bikes. Some of these are kind of vintage things that I like to just kind of hang on to that are from the 90s and stuff. And then you have a new bike here that's all carbon fiber. Customer local brought this in and we're replacing seals and getting the back shock to work again. And then these are just some other parts that are going together on a shock. This is an air shock model here that consists of machine bodies and shafts and other internal parts. Then this is part of a coil spring shock here. So in this one, there's quite a few parts that still have to go together, but it will have, you know, parts threading together, internal pistons that control the oil flow, knobs that make adjustments. Lots of little parts to it so that it works very precisely for the damping and the suspension movement in the shocks. All right, now we're going into the machine shop area. So here's where we'd start with some bars of aluminum, and then we make the parts here. This is a shaft of the shock. There's some other shock bodies. And on the machine here, fully programmable, so it can control different tools. It's got a little arm so you can touch off the tools. All right. And this machine has a bar loader, so it actually will load a bar of material. So if we're doing a large quantity of parts, it just runs automatically. And here's a little bigger machine for some of the other parts. And once again, different tools come up. And when it's running, there's going to be coolant that flows to cool the chips and the part. So we'll walk over here to the horizontal milling machine. So right now we're setting up for a triple clamp. And this is the part when it ends up finished, it's for a fork. So it has some bores and threaded tapped holes for the clamps and stuff. So this starts with just a bar of aluminum and machines it away. This machine has a rotary axis, so it will rotate the part, so you can do machining from the side also. And it's going to finish with this tool in a second, and I can show you how that rotates. So it can rotate all the way 180 or 360 degrees. We have multiple vices set up, so you can run a number of different jobs. And then it's going to automatically probe that part we couldn't do what we do without having this type of technology. To make a part that's very accurate and precise in large quantities or one piece at a time and customizing it. The computerized machine allows us to go from a drawing, write code to it, send it to it, make a few changes. So it allows us to do what we do. There's no way we can, we do have manual machines here, old Bridgeport, but that's just for making one part at a time. So we moved up to Redmond, Oregon back in 2009 and first met Redmond. We knew of Redmond from other companies up here, Lancair in particular, and John Stark showed us around, showed us the area and the different infrastructure companies and stuff here, and has been a very valuable resource for different suppliers and in the move. As far as the Redmond Economic Development, we've used their resources for hiring employees and guidance on work source and stuff like that. So thank you very much for coming along with us on the tour of Rissy Racing. I'd like to thank Reddy for the opportunity to show you folks our facility and what we do here in Redmond, Oregon. Thank you.
Kevin Rissy and Rissy Racing. So we want Kevin to come up. He's going to do some Q&A as well. And while he's strolling up, we just got to say, he realized the opportunities for manufacturing here in the city, and he met with John Stark, and they had contacts in the aviation industry, as he mentioned. Also, he said when he visited, he got a chance to get out and actually see some of the biking trails. Sisters, Bend area, all over the region, and realized just what kind of a dirt biking community there was here, how much commitment there was to the sport and the recreation, and how much opportunity there was, and that was one of the things that sealed the deal. So here is Kevin Rissy, and remember, just repeat that question so the folks watching virtually know what we're talking about.
Great.
All right, thank you very much. All right, go ahead, John.
What encouraged you to move north California? And then can you just describe to us just the support mechanism, not necessarily from Ready, but as an organization and operating a business that you've had since you moved?
Okay, so the question is, how did we decide to move to Oregon and support organizations here? So we were in California, and we were making a lot of parts for Lancair, and I was driving up here all the time, delivering parts, working with their engineers, and we were in Redding, California. It's kind of hot there. Here we've got 4 seasons, summer, and had the opportunity to go on some trails, and it's just the area sold us. And then it was like, okay, we have to buy aluminum and materials. Is there the infrastructure here to support manufacturing? And we met with John and other companies and found out, yes, there's, some stuff comes over from Portland, but those FedEx trucks show up everywhere. So, so that worked out really well. It's good decision. Thank you, John. Okay. Okay, so how has COVID affected our business? For the bicycle part, it's been crazy. You can't even find tires for bikes. And all of our suppliers have long lead times on the components. And if you're looking for a new bike, they sold out of like all the mid-range bikes. You can still get super expensive bikes. So that has generated a lot of service for us for the bike industry. As far as machining parts, the aluminum, the raw materials we buy, we really didn't have any disruptions in the supply. There were parts, seals, some oils that did have longer lead times than normal. And fortunately here, we aren't affected as much, it's not as dense a population, and it's awesome to see people go out and ride their bikes. Okay, so the question is, when we first started, did we use like manual equipment, and then when did we transition to CNC? So when I first started, I was in the Bay Area, and I was making prototypes at a friend's machine shop, and then we ended up getting a large contract with Yeti Cycles and with Trek. And at that point, it was like, okay, I had an uncle and cousin who were fortunate to give us some inspiration and guarantee some equipment loans. And so then we moved into a facility, and it was basically, a year after we started. But it was fortunate that, we could justify buying the equipment, and it was, allowed us to expand really quickly. Oh, all right.
What is this?
Hey, Manufacturing Day.
Again, a proclamation designated by the City of Redmond, the City Council, signed by the Mayor, dedicating today National Manufacturing Day in support of your industry and your help in growing our jobs in the Redmond community. So thank you, Kevin, very much for being here.
All right, thank you.
COVID shake.
Hang on a second. Sam and I have to do something very important here.
We're taking a picture? Oh,
Everybody smile.
oh,
Got it.
that sun was perfect.
Kill it.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Now we get to hear from another sponsor, and that's Velox Systems.
Hey, Jordan Smith here at Velox Systems. Welcome to the Ready Made in Redmond tour. Ready's a longtime partner of ours in growing the economy of Redmond. We supported them as they've advanced the hub of the Central Oregon economy through John Stark's work to bring new businesses into the region. At Velox Systems, we're committed to building the Central Oregon economy by partnering with local businesses to assess their technology and improve their business, enabling them to focus on what matters most to them. If you own a Central Oregon company and are looking to grow through technology, Velox Systems can help you navigate that road ahead.
Alrighty, thanks to Jordan and Velox. And our last tour today is Composite Approach. You may have heard of them, but you may not know exactly how aircraft parts are designed, and that's what this tour is all about.
My name is Sam Meyer from Composite Approach. I'm the general manager here at Composite Approach. We make custom carbon fiber and fiberglass parts and pieces for different industries, mainly the aircraft industry. We are AS 9100 and ISO 9001 certified company. And yeah, we're here to take you on a tour. So where we start with our engineering staff. So here in the main office, our engineers are hard at work. So we have a staff of 5 full-time engineers and 2 programmers that are also do our CNC operation as well. We have 3 CNC routing machines, 1 5-axis and 2 3-axis machines that we can do all of our tooling on. And here is where all the thought process goes in. Our engineering staff programming is done right next to the window right here, and then we'll go ahead and move into our CNC operating area as well. We have CNC operation going on here right now. Halen is actually making a small part on the CNC router right now. If you look this way, we actually have 2 more CNC routers, so a large 3-axis CNC router that we can cut most any kind of material, including metals on, and then we have a 5-axis over here in the corner that we can do 3-dimensional shapes on. And these are all new machines. These 2 machines are all brand new to us since the last time that we were on the Made in Redmond tour. So we do composite tooling, which consists of making a master. And once the master is complete, then we'll make a mold off the master, and from there we'll actually make parts off of the mold. So we do all of that in-house. Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll actually do from inception or conception of an idea through manufacturing for our customers. So our engineers on staff are design engineers, mechanical engineers, but they're specializing specifically in composite. So how do you make composite structures? That's what we do really well. And then a couple of our engineers also double up and do manufacturing engineering as well to make sure that our customers have something that is manufacturable once we are done designing with them. From here, what we'll do is we'll go out onto the floor and we'll do tooling. Over the last year and a half, we've moved from our old facility, which was about 18,000 square foot total. Now we're in 21,000 feet here, and then we also have another 8,000 square foot shop where we do fiberglass manufacturing, as well as we have a paint booth over there for post-processing needs that we do in-house. Out here, you can see Matt and Jason, and they're working hard on research and development projects, which are one-off to tooling. Matt's actually working on a tool over there, which is going to become a mold for a composite part that we'll make for a specific customer. So the detail of how we actually go about making these parts begins in engineering, and then it flows out here. These guys make it into a reality. As we walk into this zone here, this is our assembly facility. So we'll do most of our actual assembly here. This over here is our research and development corner, so we'll do custom projects over here. We've got molds that are sitting here on the floor that are getting ready to go into the layup room that we'll see in just a minute. But the molds will eventually have composite materials laid up in them. So the mold surface is actually the outside surface of them. This is for a local company here in Redmond called Stratos Aircraft. This is going to be their wing skins. So they will be going into the layup room in the next couple days in order to get laid up and create parts out of them. Over here, you can see that we have full turnkey assemblies that are getting ready to go into a crate and ship out today. But they are post-processed in our facility here in Redmond. So the paint, primer is all done here. We outsource all of the titanium machining to local companies as much as possible. And then from here, they get packaged up into a crate and sent down to the Bay Area, where they get assembled with other assemblies, major assemblies, and then shipped out. These are ocean-going drones, so unmanned drones that live in the sea 6 months to a year at a time. That's their normal mission. So our assembly fixtures are all created in-house. All of the fabrication, metal fab, and fixturing is all designed here at our facility. So we come back out here on the assembly floor. We've got several projects that are sitting over here on the to-be-trimmed shelf. And those projects are actually for a small-scale rocket. We're working with a company down in California that is working on developing a satellite launch vehicle. So over the last year, we have acquired our AS 9100 and ISO 9001 certifications, which allow us to work in the aerospace industry with a quality standard. So the standards that we have right now are able to get us customers that we couldn't currently, or before this time, we were not able to have. And the aerospace industry is now where we're able to play. So these are all new. As we go over here, you can see our processing oven. The processing oven is a 40-foot by 8-foot by 8-foot oven. Again, since the last time that we were on the Made in Redmond tour, is new to us. Now we're able to make much larger parts, specifically thinking of aircraft. So aircraft wing skins, aircraft wing components, fuselages we can now run through the oven. So we'll go into the layup room in a minute here. But the way the material, most of the material that we work with works is it's fabric that already has epoxy resin already built into it. That's put into a mold, put under vacuum, and then it runs through the process oven so that when it comes out on the other side, it's a hard part. And we'll look at the raw materials here in a minute. But this is where parts come out of the oven, get separated from the molds. The molds go back into the layup room, and the parts actually go onto the shelf here where they get inspected and then go through our trim room to be trimmed, and then they get inspected on the other side again, where they either go to the customer or they go to our assembly area where we actually assemble those parts for a customer. Depends on what the customer is looking for. So we go through this door right here. This is our clean room. So temperature controlled and dust controlled. So we'll go through this little locker here. We'll go into this is what we call pre-preg layup. And pre-preg means that it is impregnated, the fabric that we use is impregnated with the resin, as we talked about before. So what you'll find is this is fiberglass. And the resin is already on the fiberglass. And so what they're doing is they're in room temperature, or actually in temperature controlled environment, they're applying the fabric to the mold surface. Once all the fabric and reinforcements have been applied, then it will go under vacuum bag. And then once it's under vacuum bag, it will be staged in front of the oven and then cycled through the oven under vacuum in order to produce the parts. Composite Approach and Ready, specifically John Stark, have quite a long relationship going back over the last several years. Ready has been instrumental in helping us get to the point where we're at right now, both from funding, being able to find funding, but also this facility. John and Brian Harris, the owner of Composite Approach, worked hand in hand to find this piece of dirt in this building in order to be in a location that was conducive for what we had to do and the way that we had to expand. So Ready has been instrumental in our growth, but also just being in Redmond. One thing to say about Ready is that they're engaged in the community. They are working hard in order to make sure that small businesses thrive in the community. They understand what it takes to be a small business in Redmond specifically, but Central Oregon, and they're working hard in order to get manufacturing jobs specifically here in Redmond. Thank you so much for being a part of Composite Approach. We thoroughly believe that the whole community is what makes a business, and so thank you for all who are at the Tour of Redmond, for being the Tour of Redmond and the influential positions that you all hold. We appreciate you coming into Composite Approach. Thanks for visiting.
So we'd like to invite Sam Meyer up to the stage. I have about 2 pages explaining how cool he is, but we're going to skip through that and just sum it up with they're awesome people doing awesome things. I heard the mention of a rocket, so let's ask him a question about that. Sam.
Well, thanks for having me. My childhood dream was being a ninja, so COVID has allowed me to be able to do that. But I'm going to take this off because I'm sweating. Any questions? Yes, sir. John.
What more can you tell us about this marine drone that you described?
So Liquid Robotics is a company down in the Bay Area. They have been working on this unmanned marine drone for quite a long time. It was actually Reese Racing and Composite Approach actually go back quite a ways. But Liquid Robotics was a company that was developing an unmanned drone. And basically what it does is it operates off of wave power. In the last several years, they've added a propeller to it, but prior to that, it was exclusively wave powered. So it has a wing array that basically captures the energy of the wave on the surface. So what we make and what you saw in the video was, call it a bobber, right? So it bobs up and down on the wave, and it captures, there's a wing array underneath the surface. And what it does is it pitches up, so it has wings that pitch up, and it creates a forward vector. When it comes down the backside of the wave, it pitches down and creates a forward vector. So whether it's going up or down on the wave, it's creating a forward vector. So they'll maintain about 3 knots in the ocean continually without any human interaction whatsoever. So it's just one of the innovative companies that we get to play with their stuff. It's pretty cool. Yes, sir. So my background is in aviation. I got a degree in aviation flight technology, which is a really long name for I was a flight instructor. And then I worked for Columbia Aircraft when they were here, and I was a production test pilot for Columbia Aircraft. And then I worked for another company here in Redmond called RDD, which is another manufacturing company. They were on the Redmond tour a few years back. And I was their operations manager and then general manager for Composite Approach.
So we have a question from the online audience. What community resources or capabilities would you like to see for your business that are not out there?
I was just talking with the superintendent specifically about this, and I've actually been in several conversations about education and what that means for Composite Approach. And the common answer that I have is teach kids how to think, right? Teach them leadership skills. Because ultimately, the manufacturing world, I mean, there is going to be automation. That's the reality of manufacturing. So to be just labor in the manufacturing world is not necessarily going to be great forever. And so understanding how to be an operator, understanding how to be a leader, understanding how to be an engineer, those are things that aren't going to go away anytime soon. You're never going to replace a human's mind. So how to think, as far as the technical skills of what folks can do for us, we'll teach them that. Because we have a fairly specific way we like to do things. Roger.
Wait, we have another thing coming.
Uh-oh. I think you got vetoed, Roger.
Yeah, I think we'll catch the last question maybe after. So thank you, Sam. Again, proclamation signed by the mayor of Redmond, acknowledging your part of the manufacturing industry and our National Manufacturing Day, our celebration of that here in Redmond. Thank you for your investment, your time, your support for the community, and everything you do to help us grow.
Thank you.
COVID shake.
Thank you.
All righty, thanks to Sam. And as we wind down, thanks to that company, Composite Approach, and to all of our sponsors today, all of the companies who've toured. You are what add up to make Redmond a very special place where creators and creative minds are wanted.
And thank you all for being here. I know it's getting a little warm. I'm seeing people move off to the shade, but thank you so much for coming out and for joining us online as well. This was a really fun event for us to be a part of. Also want to thank some more sponsors. That's Eberhard's Dairy Products, Earth2O, Central Electric Co-op. That's our food and beverage sponsors. Treasure Valley Coffee. They provided the coffee, and all of the goodie bag sponsors. That includes Bebop Biscotti, The Chocolate Company, and Riff, who do business in Redmond. Also, thanks, of course, to the Deschutes County Fairgrounds, our venue partner, who helped us pull off this very creative virtual and in-person watch party.
Also, we want to thank and honor Cody Rialt for producing the videos you saw. Cody is one of the really talented photographers, cinematographers that we're fortunate enough to have at Central Oregon Daily News, providing the visual and the contextual underpinning for what we do. Cody Rialt, thank you so much for putting those pieces together today. Very talented young man.
I also drag him along to Origin Stories, so I got to give him an extra shout out. Thanks for dealing with me.
Also, he does our War Stories segment, too, that we do honoring the veterans in our community every week. And please join us. Let me see who else. We're thanking Tim Park, who helped with the sponsor videos. Thank you, Tim. And join us online. Where's Tim? Is he here?
It's right there.
Bingo. Thank you, Tim. Remember to join us online or on air for Central Oregon Daily News every day, Monday through Friday, ABC and CBS. Also look for Sam's Origin Stories every week, and check out our website, centraloregondaily.com. And thank you again, and don't forget your goodie bags. And next year, we're back to the buses.
Woo! Thank you so much, you guys.